Hello and welcome to the newest episode in the Clinton Victory Election Series. Today we are discussing the 2028 election between Republican Vice President Joni Ernst and her running mate Montana Senator Matt Rosendale versus Oregon Senators, the Democrat nominee Oregon Senator Steve Novick and his running mate Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey. Taking a look at the current president's approval rating, President Trump's approval pretty even, 49% total support and 49% disapprove, with most of his support coming from Republicans and 48% of non-affiliated voters. Taking a look at Vice President Joni Ernst, her approvals are looking a bit better than Donald Trump's. 95% Republicans approve of her, 6% of Democrats, and 50% other, giving her total support at 50%. Taking a look at Senator Novick, he has 8% support from Democrats, pretty good for a progressive, or 8% support from Republicans. 95% of Democrats support him, and 50% of non-affiliated voters support him, giving him a 51% approval across the board. He has the highest approval out of the previous three candidates we've talked about. But taking a look at the retiring senators on the GOP side, we have Mo Brooks from Alabama, Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, Mike Crapo from Idaho, Chuck Grassley from Iowa, Jerry Moran from Kansas, John Kennedy from Louisiana, Billy Long from Missouri, John Hoven from North Dakota, and Tim Scott from South Carolina. On the Democrat side, we have a few less. Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, Chuck Schumer of New York, Ron Wyden of Oregon, Peter Welch of Vermont, Patty Murray of Washington, and Russ Feingold of Wisconsin. It is now 7 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Indiana, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner here. No surprise, she will go on to win the state by around 29 percentage points, doing very well in the rural numbers. In Kentucky, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner, doing a bit worse than Donald Trump, winning by around 19 percentage points. Out of Vermont, Steve Novick will unsurprisingly win the most progressive state in the country, winning by around 26 percentage points. Out of Virginia, Steve Novick will be the projected winner, going on to win by around 14 points. And out of Georgia, currently too close to call, Kamala Harris barely won the state back in 2024, and now it's Steve Novick's looking to make improvements, while Joni Ernst is looking to do the same, as Novick currently has a 26-point lead in the state. Out of South Carolina, it's been a while since South Carolina has been competitive on the presidential level, but it looks like it's going to do so yet again, as Novick currently has a 6-point lead over Joni Ernst, and we are yet to make a call out of this state. And here is the current electoral map, where Joni Ernst has a small lead of 19 electoral votes to Novick's 16. Out of Indiana Senate race, Jim Banks will be re-elected to another term of the United States Senate, going on to defeat J.D. Ford by 34 points. Out of Kentucky Senate race, Rand Paul will be re-elected to another term, defeating Rocky Atkins by 14 points, underperforming Joni Ernst. Out of Vermont Senate race, Becca Balint will be elected to her first term to the United States Senate, going on to defeat Scott Milne by around 31 points, outperforming Steve Novick. And out of Georgia Senate race, currently too close to call, Stacey Abrams, who had failed to win the governorship 2 times before now, is looking to make a political comeback to defeat incumbent Senator Doug Collins, but as of right now, she has a 26-point lead over the incumbent senator, running even with Steve Novick. Out of South Carolina Senate race, currently too close to call, Catherine Bruce has a 6-point lead over former Congressman Trey Gowdy. And here's the current Senate composition. Democrats are expected to elect Amy Klobuchar as their leader, while the Republicans are expected to elect Marco Rubio. But Republicans have a 37-seat, and while the Democrats have 32, Republicans have a 5-seat advantage right now. You need 51 or 50 plus the presidency to win the majority. Out of Indiana's governor race, Trey Hollingsworth will be re-elected to his second term as governor, going on to defeat Thomas McDermott by 29 percentage points. Out of Vermont's governor race, the first flip of the night, Molly Gray will be elected to her first term as governor, going on to defeat former Lieutenant Governor Brian Doobie by around 21 percentage points. And here's the current governor's composition. Democrats, led by New Mexico Governor Howie Morales, currently has 25 seats. They really only need one more seat in order to win the majority once again to retain it. While the Republicans are led by Iowa Governor Adam Gregg, they have 17 seats. It is now 7:30 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Ohio, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner here. No surprise here. She goes on to win here by around 12 points over Steve Novick. Out of West Virginia, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner here. No surprise that she will be elected by around 49 percentage points. Out of North Carolina, too close to call. Steve Novick currently has a 22-point lead over Joni Ernst. This state is expected to become exceptionally competitive this cycle, as Trump only won the state by 1 point back in 2024. Out of South Carolina, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner. We can now make a call out of the state, as Ernst will only end up winning the state by single digits, winning the state by 7 points. Out of Georgia, too close to call. Novick's lead has dropped to about 6 points over Joni Ernst. And here is the current electoral map on your screen now. Novick failing to make any sort of electoral gains at this hour, but Ernst has a 49 electoral vote to Novick's 16 electoral vote lead. Out of North Carolina Senate race, Jerry Beasley, the incumbent senator, has a 22-point lead over veteran Marjorie Eastman. Out of Ohio Senate race, too close to call, Senator Tim Ryan has a 6-point lead over State Senator Matt Dolan. Out of South Carolina Senate race, we can now call that Trey Gowdy, a very controversial congressman, will be elected to his first term to the United States Senate, going on to defeat Catherine Bruce by 7 points, running even with Joni Ernst. Out of Georgia Senate race, currently too close to call, Abrams continuing to run even with Novick, as she has a 6-point lead over Doug Collins. And here is the current Senate compositions. Democrats have 32 seats, and the Republicans 38. Out of the West Virginia governor's race, J.B. McCuskey will be reelected to another term as governor, going on to defeat Booth Goodwin by 44 percentage points. Out of North Carolina's governor race, currently too close to call, Robert Reeves currently has a 22-point lead over Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. This is expected to be a very competitive gubernatorial race. And here's the current governor's composition. The Democrats still have 25 seats, so the Republicans 18. It is now 8 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Alabama, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner here. She will go on to win the state by around 19 percentage points. Out of Mississippi, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner, going on to win here by 14 percentage points. Out of Missouri, Joni Ernst will win this state, a neighboring state to her home state, that being Iowa. Missouri will go to Joni Ernst by around 12 percentage points. Out of Oklahoma, Joni Ernst will win here as well, going on to win here by around 44 points. Out of Tennessee, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner, going on to win here by around 19 percentage points. Out of Connecticut, Steve Novick will go on to win this state around 11 points over Joni Ernst. Out of Delaware, Steve Novick will be the projected winner. This is former Vice President Joe Biden's home state. Novick will end up winning here by around 14 points. Out of D.C., no surprise here, Steve Novick is the projected winner. Out of Illinois, Steve Novick will be the projected winner here as well, going on to win the state of Illinois by around 14 percentage points. Out of Maryland, Steve Novick will end up winning here by around 19 points. Out of Massachusetts, this is his running mate's home state. He will go on to win here by around 34 or 24 percentage points. Yeah, 24 percentage points. Sorry, I had a brain fog there for a second, but Novick will be the projected winner out of the state of Massachusetts. Out of Rhode Island, Steve Novick will also win here as well, winning here by around 14 points. Out of Florida, this is currently too close to call, but Novick has a 6-point lead over Joni Ernst right now. Out of Maine, too close to call. However, the first district will go to Novick, and Ernst will win the second district. Novick currently has a 26-point lead over Joni Ernst. Out of New Hampshire, currently too close to call. Novick has a 30-point lead over his opponents. Out of New Jersey, currently too close to call. Novick has a 34-point lead in the state. Out of Pennsylvania, too close to call. Novick has a 20-point lead here in the state. Out of Georgia, we can now make a call much earlier than we did 4 years ago, but Steve Novick will be the projected winner out of the state of Georgia, winning here by around 2 points, improving on Kamala Harris's numbers in urban Atlanta. Out of North Carolina, is currently still too close to call, as Novick now has a 12-point lead. And here's the current electoral map. It is, tightened up once again. Ernst has 93 electoral votes to Novick's 90. Out of Alabama Senator Race, Katie Britt will be elected to her first term to the United States Senate, going on to defeat Terry Sewell by 14 points, underperforming Joni Ernst. Out of Florida Senate race, the potentially next Republican leader, Marco Rubio, will be elected to another term to the United States Senate, going on to defeat William Sanchez by 12 points, outperforming Joni Ernst, and even winning Miami-Dade County once again. Out of Missouri Senate race, Eric Schmidt will be elected to his first term to the U.S. Senate, going on to defeat Scott Stifton by 19 points, outperforming Joni Ernst. Out of Oklahoma Senate race, Jackson Lemare will be re-elected to another term to the Senate, defeating Kendra Horn by 39 points. Out of Connecticut Senate race, Susan Basiewicz will go on to win to her first term to the United States Senate, defeating Dan Carter by 11 points. Out of Illinois Senate race, Tammy Duckworth will be re-elected to another term, defeating Kathy Salvi by 19 points, outperforming Steve Novick. Out of Maryland Senate race, Chris Van Hollen will be re-elected, going on to defeat Kendall Ehrlich by 16 points, underperforming Steve Novick. Out of New Hampshire Senate race, currently too close to call, Steve Marchin currently has a 40-point lead over Don Bolduc, but we are unable to call this race at this time. Out of Pennsylvania Senate race, Senator Katie McGinty currently has a 30-point lead over Kathy Barnett. Out of Ohio Senate race, we can now make a call. The next flip of the night, Matt Dolan will flip the seat from blue to red, as Matt Dolan will be elected to the United States Senate, defeating Tim Ryan by 7 points. Tim Ryan's white work class bill is what kept him in this race for so long, but Matt Dolan will take this Senate seat from him. Another gain for the Republicans, or the first gain for the Republicans. Well, they take Ohio, Democrats take Georgia, as Stacey Abrams will be elected to the United States Senate out of the state of Georgia. She will go on to defeat Doug Collins by 2 points, running even with Matt Dolan. Collins going to the unemployment line come January. Out of North Carolina Senate race, currently too close to call, Cherry Beasley has a 12-point lead over Marjorie Eastman. And here is the current Senate composition. Republicans have hit 40 seats, as Democrats have 36 seats, so the Republicans 43. Out of Delaware's governor race, Matthew Dent will be re-elected to another term as governor, going on to defeat Greg Lavelle by 19 points, outperforming Steve Novick in the process. Out of New Hampshire's governor race, currently too close to call, Chris Sununu retiring this year. Congressman Chris Pappas has a 30-point lead over former Senator Kelly Ayotte. And now we can make the projection that the majority will go to the Democrats. Democrats will win the majority, with Delaware going to them in the Governors Association, as they have 26 seats now to the Republicans' 18. At North Carolina's governor race, currently too close to call, Robert Reeves has a 12-point lead over Mark Robinson. And the composition has not changed since last time we've updated you. It is now 8:30 p.m. We now have poll closings out of the state of Arkansas, where we can unsurprisingly project that Joni Ernst will be the projected winner, as she will go on to win here by around 24 percentage points. Out of Florida, we can now call that Joni Ernst will win this state, going on to win here by around 7 points, defeating Steve Novick, doing very well in the rural votes, as well as the suburbs, surprisingly. Joni Ernst doing very well in the suburbs in Florida. Out of New Jersey, Steve Novick will be the projected winner. We can now make a call that Novick will win here by around 6 percentage points. Again, not all these states are come and go, like southern New Jersey, very white working class area. Ernst is doing very well down there. Novick not doing well in certain white working class areas in certain states. It's very strange to see. A very unique election we're seeing. And out of Maine, still too close to call. Novick's lead drops to about 6 points over Joni Ernst. New Hampshire, still too close to call. Novick has a 10-point lead here. Out of Pennsylvania, too close to call. Novick has a 14-point lead. Out of North Carolina, too close to call. Novick has an 11-point lead. And here's the current electoral map. Still a dead heat, with Ernst leading 129 electoral votes to Steve Novick's 104. Out of Arkansas Senate race, Jan Morgan will be re-elected to another term to the United States Senate, defeating Bill Halter by 19 percentage points. Out of New Hampshire Senate race, we can call that Steve Marchand will be elected to his first term to the Senate. A lot of people were hoping Chris Sununu would run this year, but he chose not to, as Don Bolduc ended up getting the nomination, with Steve Marchand ending up winning this race by 9 points, a big blow to the Republicans. Out of Pennsylvania Senate race, currently too close to call, Katie McGinty has a 10-point lead over Kathy Barnett. Out of North Carolina Senate race, too close to call, Cherry Beasley now has an 11-point lead over Marjorie Eastman. And here's the current Senate composition. Democrats have 37 seats, to the Republicans 44. Out of New Hampshire's governor race, still too close to call. That says D4. That's not a dice. It's supposed to say 44. Chris Pappas has a 10-point lead over Kelly Ayotte. Out of North Carolina's governor race, too close to call. Robert Reeves has an 11-point lead over Mark Robinson. The governor's composition has not changed. It is now 9 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Colorado, Steve Novick will end up winning this very progressive state, going on to win here by 16 percentage points over Joni Ernst. A big win for him. Out of New York, Steve Novick is the projected winner, going on to win here by 14 points, doing very well in the New York City area. Out of Kansas, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner, going on to win here by 12 percentage points. Out of Louisiana, Joni Ernst is the projected winner, winning here by around 14 percentage points. Out of Nebraska, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner here, winning all but the second dish. We'll get to that later. Joni Ernst will win here by around 24 percentage points. Out of North Dakota, Joni Ernst is the projected winner, winning here by around 34 percentage points. 44. Out of South Dakota, Joni Ernst is the projected winner, winning here by around 39 points. Out of Wyoming, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner, winning the state of Wyoming by around 44 points. I got it right this time, hopefully. Out of Arizona, it is currently too close to call. Steve Novick currently has a lead of 24 points. Sorry, I can't math today. Over Joni Ernst. Out of Michigan, I keep fucking up. Out of Michigan, currently too close to call. Steve Novick currently has a 26-point lead over Joni Ernst. Out of Minnesota, it is currently too close to call. Steve Novick has a 30-point lead over Joni Ernst. Nebraska second, as we said earlier, currently too close to call. Novick has a 24-point lead over Joni Ernst. Out of New Mexico, currently too close to call. Novick has a 30-point lead over Ernst. Out of Texas, currently too close to call. Novick has a 6-point lead over Joni Ernst. Wisconsin, too close to call. Novick has a 12-point lead over Ernst. Out of Maine, we can now project that Steve Novick will be the projected winner, winning the state at large by around 2 points, winning the first district by a safe margin, while his opponent, Joni Ernst, wins the second by a safe margin in her own right. Out of New Hampshire, Steve Novick will be the projected winner in a very Bernie Bro state, yet very much a swing state at the same time. Novick will end up winning here by around 4 points over Joni Ernst. Out of Pennsylvania, currently too close to call. Steve Novick now has a 9-point lead over Joni Ernst. Out of North Carolina, too close to call. Steve Novick's lead has dropped to about 10 points. And here is the current electoral map on your screen now. Ernst is still leading 156 to Novick's 148, though we expect that to change around the 11 p.m. mark. Out of Colorado Center Race, Michael Bennett will be the projected winner, going on to win here by around 16 points. Out of New York Center Race, Alessandra Biaggi will end up winning her first term to the Senate, defeating Andrew Giuliani by 14 points. Out of Kansas Center Race, Mike Pompeo will be elected to his first term to the Senate, going on to defeat Paul Davis by around 12 points. Out of North Dakota Senate Race, Tom Campbell will be elected to his first term to the United States Senate, defeating Joel Heitkamp, the brother of former Senator Heidi Heitkamp, by 44 points. Out of South Dakota Senate Race, Bruce Whalen will be re-elected to another term to the U.S. Senate, defeating Brendan Johnson by 34 points. Out of Arizona Senate Race, Senator Ruben Gallego currently has a 24-point lead over Blake Masters. Out of Louisiana Senate Race, not a lot of people expected this. However, with a blue dog and a Rockefeller Republican running against each other in a southern state, it was expected to be interesting, but not this interesting. Louisiana Senate Race currently too close to call, as John Bell Edwards is a 2-point lead over Joseph Chow currently. Out of Wisconsin Senate Race, currently too close to call, Governor Mandela Barnes currently has a 2-point lead over former Congressman Sean Duffy. Out of Pennsylvania Senate Race, we can now project that Katie McGinty will be re-elected to another term to the United States Senate, defeating Kathy Barnett by 4 points, a major outperformance of Steve Novick right now, as she will be re-elected to another term, doing very well in the white working class areas of the state, as well as in Philadelphia, where many Republicans were hoping Kathy Barnett would do well in, but that did not come to fruition. Out of North Carolina Senate Race, still too close to call, Cherry Beasley has an 11-point lead over Marjorie Eastman. And here's the current Senate composition. Democrats have now had 40 seats. They have 40 seats, the Republicans 47. Republicans only need 4 seats to win an outright majority. Out of North Dakota's governor race, Kelly Armstrong will be elected to his first term as governor, going on to defeat Jasper Schneider by around 44 points. Out of New Hampshire's governor race, Chris Pappas will flip this governor's mansion from red to blue, as he will go on to win his first term as governor, defeating Kelly Ayotte by 4 percentage points. Out of North Carolina's governor race, currently too close to call, Robert Reeves has a 10-point lead over Mark Robinson. And here's the current governor's composition. Democrats have 27 seats, and the Republicans 19. It is now 10 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Iowa, Joni Ernst will go on to win her home state this year. She will go on to win here by around 24 percentage points. You know, Steve Novick bottomed out in the rural areas of the state big time. And out of Montana, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner. She will go on to win here by 17 points. Out of Utah, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner. She will go on to win here by 19 points. Actually, that's 21 points, excuse me. Out of Nevada, it is currently too close to call. Trump ended up barely winning the state back in 2024, and it is expected to be a dead heat once again, as Nova currently has a 20-point lead over Joni Ernst. Out of Texas, we can now make the call that Joni Ernst will be the projected winner here, winning here by single digits. The first time since 2016 this happened. She will end up winning here by 7 percentage points. Out of Arizona, too close to call. Steve Novick currently has a 4-point lead over Joni Ernst right now. Out of Michigan, too close to call. Steve Novick has a 6-point lead over Joni Ernst. Minnesota, too close to call. Novick has a 10-point lead. Nebraska 2nd District, too close to call. Novick has a 4-point lead. Out of New Mexico, too close to call. Novick has a 10-point lead. Out of Wisconsin, too close to call. Novick has a 2-point lead. Pennsylvania, too close to call. Novick has a 6-point lead. North Carolina, too close to call. Novick has an 8-point lead. And here's the current electoral map on your screen now. Novick has hit 200 electoral votes. She's at 206 to Steve Novick's 148. It's still very much a dead heat right now. Out of Iowa Senate race, Jim Carlin will be elected to his first term as governor. A very hard right candidate from the Republicans, but he's being elected nonetheless. He goes on to defeat Sidney Axne by 19 percentage points. Out of Utah Senate race, Mike Lee will be re-elected to another term, going on to defeat Cale Weston by 21 points. Out of Nevada Senate race, it is currently too close to call. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto currently has a 20-point lead over former Governor Adam Laxalt. This is expected to be a dead heat as well, and Republicans got their dream candidate in the former governor. Out of Louisiana Senate race, Republicans started sweating a little bit here, but Joseph Chow will become the first Vietnamese American to be elected to the United States Senate out of Louisiana, as he was the first Vietnamese congressman out of Louisiana. He will continue to do so as senator, but he will go on to defeat John Bel Edwards by 7 percentage points. No, 9 percentage points, excuse me. Go on to win here by 9 percentage points over John Bel Edwards. An underperformance of Joni Ernst big time, but he still got the job done. Out of Wisconsin Senate race, Sean Duffy will be elected to his first term as senator, defeating the governor, Mandela Barnes. And he will flip the seat from blue to red, a big win for Republicans, as Sean Duffy has a massive victory, winning by 9 points over the incumbent governor, no less, overperforming Joni Ernst. And now with that victory, we can project that the Republicans will win the majority in the United States Senate with that victory. Out of Arizona Senate race, still too close to call. Ruben Gallego has a 4-point lead over Blake Masters. Out of North Carolina Senate race, too close to call. Cherry Beasley has a 7-point lead over Marjorie Eastman. And here's the current Senate composition. Democrats have 40 seats, the Republicans 51, as Republicans now have the outright majority, as Democrats are hoping to take that from them, but that's not going to happen tonight. And out of Montana's governor race, Greg Gianforte will be elected to his first term as governor, going on to defeat Whitney Williams by 12 percentage points. Out of Utah's governor race, Thomas Wright will be re-elected once again to, I believe, his third term as governor, going on to defeat Peter Caroon by 21 points. He'll go on to win here by 21 points. At North Carolina's governor race, too close to call. Robert Reed has an 8-point lead over Mark Robinson. And here is the current governor's composition. Democrats have 27 seats to the Republicans' 22. It is now 11 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. This could be where the tides shift in this election. Out of California, Steve Novick will be the projected winner, winning here by a big margin by 41 percentage points. Yeah, 41 percentage points, a massive victory in Big Blue, California for Steve Novick. Out of Hawaii, Steve Novick will be the projected winner, winning here by 21 points over Joni Ernst. Out of Oregon, Steve Novick will be the projected winner, winning here by 16 points. This is his home state, by the way. Out of Washington, Steve Novick is the projected winner, going on to win here by 14 percentage points. Out of Idaho, Joni Ernst is the projected winner, winning here by around I believe that's 44 points. I could be wrong, though. And we can make a big call for the Novick campaign. Steve Novick will win the state of Arizona, flipping this from red to blue. Trump ended up winning this state by a tilt margin back in 2024, but it looks like Novick's going to end up winning here by 1 percentage points, doing very well in Maricopa County, however, doing very poorly in the rural areas, as well as in Yuma County. However, Novick will still end up winning this state nonetheless. Out of Michigan, Steve Novick will be the projected winner, winning here by around 2 points over Joni Ernst, doing very well in the white working class, as well as in Detroit mostly. Doing well in Detroit mostly. Out of Minnesota, Steve Novick is the projected winner, going on to win here by around 4 points, doing very well in the Twin Cities. That's where most of his vote is coming from. And now we can make another call for him, as Steve Novick will end up winning Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District, flipping this district from red to blue. Out of New Mexico, Steve Novick will be the projected winner in this state, winning in New Mexico by around 4 points over his opponent. And out of Wisconsin, Joni Ernst will be the projected winner, keeping this Rust Belt state in Republican hands, and she will go on to win here by 4 percentage points. Doing very well. It was mostly the suburbs here that got Ernst a victory. However, there was some white working class Trump appeal due to her being his running mate. However, Novick did a lot better than Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton did with white working class voters in the state. And out of Nevada, currently too close to call, Novick now has a 15-point lead over Joni Ernst. Out of Pennsylvania, too close to call, Novick has a 2-point lead. North Carolina, too close to call, Novick has a 3-point lead. And here's the current electoral map. Novick only needs one more state to win. One more state. Ernst needs to win Alaska, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina to be elected president. But Ernst has 226 electoral votes to Steve Novick's 268. You need 270 to win. Novick is literally 2 electoral votes away. And out of California, currently will be projected to go to Kamala Harris. She'll be re-elected to another term as a senator, going on to defeat Elizabeth Hang by around 41 percentage points. And out of Hawaii Senate race, Brian Schatz will be re-elected to the United States Senate, defeating Charles DeJoe by 16 points. Out of Oregon Senate race, Tina Kotek will be elected to her first term as senator, defeating Alex Garlatos by 11 points. Out of Idaho Senate race, Raul Labrador will be elected to his first term to the United States Senate, defeating Michelle Stennett by 44 points. Out of Washington Senate race, too close to call. Very shocking for Democrats to hear this cycle, but Jane Butler has run a pretty solid campaign as the incumbent governor. Bob Ferguson has a 40-point lead over the former congresswoman. Out of Arizona Senate race, Ruben Gallego will defy all odds as he will be re-elected to his second term to the United States Senate, defeating Blake Masters by 1 percentage point, running even with Steve Novick this cycle. And out of Nevada Senate race, currently too close to call, Catherine Cortez Masto currently has a 13-point lead over Adam Laxalt. Out of North Carolina Senate race, too close to call, Jerry Beasley has a 2-point lead over Marjorie Eastman. And here's the current Senate composition. Democrats have 44 seats, so the Republicans 52. Out of Washington's governor race, we can project that Hillary Franz will be elected to her first term as governor. She will go on to defeat Jim Walsh by 19 points, outperforming both Novick and Ferguson. Out of North Carolina's governor race, who's currently too close to call, Robert Reeves has a 2-point lead over Mark Robinson. And here is the current governor's composition. Democrats have 28 seats, so the Republicans 21. It is now 1 a.m. out of the state of Alaska. Let's see what polls are, what they're saying. And it is, Alaska has become too close to call. It has become competitive on the presidential level, similar to South Carolina, something that hasn't happened in a while. But Novick currently has a 6-point lead over Joni Ernst, and we are unable to make a call right now. Out of Nevada, it is currently too close to call. Novick has a 5-point lead over Ernst. Out of Pennsylvania, too close to call. Novick has a 1-point lead over Ernst. Out of North Carolina, too close to call. Novick has a 1-point lead. And here's the current electoral map. It is, I would say, anyone's game, but Ernst is walking a very tight rope right now, as Novick really only needs to win one state, and that's it. Ernst's campaign is done for, and Novick becomes the shortest president ever elected. Out of Alaska Senate race, that says governor should say Senate is currently too close to call. But the incumbent governor of Alaska, Al Gross, is currently leading the pack at 45%. Former Governor Mike Dunleavy at 28%. Former Governor Sarah Palin at 16%. And Magistrate Judge Joe Miller at 8%. Out of Washington Senate race, we can now make a call that Bob Ferguson will be elected to his first term to the United States Senate, going on to defeat James Butler by 9 percentage points. James Butler doing very well in the Seattle suburbs, which is what led to this election being super competitive, or somewhat competitive. Out of Nevada Senate race, too close to call, Kathy Cortez Masto has a 3-point lead over Adam Laxalt. Out of North Carolina Senate race, too close to call, Cherry Beasley has a 1-point lead over Marjorie Eastman. And here's the current Senate composition. Amy Klobuchar has, the Democrats have 46 seats, and the Republicans 52. Out of North Carolina's governor race, still too close to call. Robert Reeves has a 1-point lead over Mark Robinson. Very dead heat out of all three of North Carolina's races here tonight. And here's the current governor's composition: 28 for the Democrats, 21 for the Republicans. It is now 1:15 a.m. We can now make some updates, or a call, out of Alaska, no less. Joni Ernst will be the projected winner out of the state of Alaska, keeping her campaign alive very shortly, it seems like. And she will have a 7-point victory over Steve Novick. And out of Alaska Senate race, too close to call, Al Gross has now jumped up to 46%, Mike Dunleavy at 30%, and Sarah Palin at 20%. It seems like most of Joe Miller's vote went to Sarah Palin, but it wasn't enough for her to bump her up to second place or anything. It is now 1:30 a.m. We can now make a call out of Nevada. Joni Ernst will keep this state in Republican hands. She will go on to defeat Steve Novick by 0.5%, half a percent, as she will keep this state in Republican hands. Big victory for her. She keeps her campaign alive, and another big victory for Senate Republicans, as former Governor Adam Laxalt will flip this Senate seat from blue to red, as he will go on to defeat Catherine Cortez Masto by a similar margin. Out of Alaska Senate race, a flip for the independents. However, Al Gross has stated he will be caucusing with Democrats come January, as he will go on to defeat Mike Dunleavy by 16 percentage points at the end of the day. Big victory for independents, or Democrats in this case, as Al Gross will be elected to the United States Senate. It is now 1:45 a.m. We can now make a call out of Pennsylvania. Joni Ernst will be the projected winner here, keeping this state in Republican hands, as she will go on to win here by 0.2%, doing somewhat well with white working class voters. She did win in white working class Erie County, however, she's close to bottoming out in Philadelphia. It is now 2 a.m. We can now make a call out of North Carolina, and with that, it bang, bang, boom, bam, it is game over. Steve Novick will be the projected winner out of North Carolina, flipping this state from red to blue, and the first Democrat to win here since Barack Obama back in 2008. Steve Novick flips the state of North Carolina, mostly due to his black appeal, and maybe because people think he looks funny because he's short. Kind of upset that I didn't make it more short jokes throughout this, but it's fine. We all love him for it. Out of North, and we can see here that Steve Novick will win here by the narrowest of margins, so Pennsylvania was a lot more narrow. Novick will win here by 0.3%, winning, doing very well in the Black Belt area of North Carolina, doing very well in Appalachia, doing very well in southern or southeastern North Carolina as well. That led to his victory here. However, Ernst did very well in northeast North Carolina, outside the Appalachians, where she maxed out the rural areas. Very big victory for Ernst there, but she still couldn't do it. She lost my home state to the short guy. I guess you can say she came short of winning this election. Anyway, but with that, we can say that Steve Novick has been elected the 47th president of the United States, becoming the first dwarf to become president, unless you count James Madison. However, this guy is 4'10", I believe. He will become the first dwarf president and the shortest president ever, winning this election for the Democrats and himself mostly. And here's the final electoral map. We'll come back to this later, again, shortly. But Novick has 284 electoral votes to Joni Ernst 254. And with that, North Carolina Senate race has been called as well. Cherry Beasley will be elected to her second term as a senator, defeating Marjorie Eastman by a similar margin. And we can make a call into the governor's race as well, as Robert Reeves will be elected governor of the state of North Carolina, re-elected as governor, defeating the Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson by, once again, a similar margin. And here is the final electoral map. Again, Novick winning 284 electoral votes, Joni Ernst 254. Here is the marginal map. The closest Democrat state was, of course, North Carolina, and the closest Republican state was Pennsylvania. And here is the Senate map. Of course, as you can see here, the darker colors, the darker shades indicate flips, as Republicans flipped 3 seats, that being Nevada, Wisconsin, and Ohio, and Democrats flipped 1, technically 2, out of Georgia, as well as an independent caucusing with the Democrats in Alaska. And here's the Senate composition. Republicans have 53 seats to the Democrats 47. And here is the governor's map, as you can see here. The 2 flips of the night, New Hampshire and Vermont, both flipping from red to blue, with Molly Gray and Chris Pappas flipping those seats for the Democrats. And the final composition shows the Democrats with 30 seats to the Republicans 20. And we can now make a call that the Democrats will maintain control of the House of Representatives, as Catherine Clark will remain as Speaker, presumably, as the Democrats have 221 House seats to the Republicans 214. So close, yet no cigar, where Democrats will keep control of the United States House. And here is the House map on your screen now. Just pause and take a look at it as you will. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Chaotic One saying peace.